Hello and welcome to the Hearts Standard preview / team news reaction to Steven Naismith's decision, team selection ahead of the Premiership encounter with Livingston. As you can see, the team is on the screen. It looks like it's going to be a back three with Frankie King, Stephen Kingsley and Kai Rowles playing in front of Sander Clark. Stephen Kingsley, I would imagine, will be the centre of the back three, having came into that position on Sunday against Rangers. Alex Cochrane and Alan Forrest out wide, with Devlin Birmingham in the midfield, with Alex Lowry in behind Liam Boyce and Lauren Shanklin. It's safe to say, James, that neither of us got anywhere near close to predicting this lineup.
No, and Joe, that serves me right, because I was on the stream earlier on saying that, Joe, the one thing that you can say for certain, you know, giving it all that. So yeah, once again, with Naismith and Wales look silly, just for a change. But I got to say, it was a surprise to me that he's stuck with the back three, particularly in a game where the emphasis is going to be on Hearts. Hearts are going to have to go out there, seize the initiative, control the game, and most importantly, score goals.
Because we talked about it this afternoon, because we weren't planning on doing this video, because we thought if it's a straightforward lineup, we won't bother having doing one, because we've already previewed the match. But because of such a surprising lineup, we have decided to kind of talk through it. And we did discuss the fact that we didn't think it would be a back three just because of the optics of being at home to Livingston, and you think, right, it's going to be back to kind of 4-2-3-1, just kind of more attacking outlook. But when you actually look at the lineup, I don't mind it.
No, well, that's the thing. That's the thing we looked at. We looked at it and went, do you know what, actually, it's pretty decent. I think, man for man, it's a decent squad. I think there's obviously a lot's going to be asked of Cochrane and Forrest today. In particular, they're going to have to get forward. They're going to have to really stretch the play and make the pitch wide, because if they don't do that, absolutely no one else is going to do it. Mm-hmm. Again, Birmingham and Devlin, they're going to have to get a bit forward and support, because Lowry, Shanklin and Boyce as our front three, they're good players, but chances are they're going to be up against like 4 or 5 Livingston defenders. So, you're going to need more bodies forward in order to, work against that numerical disadvantage. So I think that I think it's a tricky one, because I would have liked to see another attacker in there. I think it's maybe a bit of a conservative lineup in terms of the team selection. But
would you have preferred to have another attacking midfielder in and just go have the one sitting in, or where would you see the other attacker?
Probably just a striker with 3 playing behind them. 2 wingers and an attacking mid. I think that again, that extra bit of width can come in handy against a team like Livingston, who are going to sit deep, they are going to sit narrow, and it's going to be hard to try and find space. So there's an onus on Hearts to try and create that space. So, it is an interesting one, because again, it's throwing us off guard a wee bit. But I guess the most important thing is, again, we touched on this earlier, it will be the mentality of the players. Okay, the shape that doesn't define the way you're going to play. It doesn't say, that's the attacking team or that's the defensive team. It's about how the players play within that. So you're going to have to see, the defense pushing up a wee bit as well. That back three, you're going to have to kind of get forward, so it's a wee bit easier to move the ball around, because Livingston, they're not likely to strike Hearts very often on the counter attack. They don't do that. When you look at their stats, they're again one of the lowest ranked teams in the league for counter attack shots and having good counter attacks. So that's not something that has to be worried about. So I'm not too worried about Livingston in possession. Or even in transition, try to catch Hearts off guard. I don't think that's much of a problem. I think the real problem is going to be trying to break them down. And again, in order to do that, you're going to need the team to push right up, so that Livingston are pinned back, they're penned in their own half, and then you can try and shift the ball around quickly, try to find those little gaps to exploit. Because that's going to be the end of the game today. It's going to be all about trying to unsettle that Livingston defence, try and create little holes, and then find the man through them.
And you look at that front three, they're the front three that are probably most likely to do that, to the kind of intelligent technical forwards. Boyce, Lowry and Shanklin are that, and on the ball they're very good at that. It's not a game where Hearts really need too much pace, because you'd expect Livingston to sit in. So that's where you see Ode on the bench, Fargas on the bench, and you have those options coming off the bench depending on how the game goes. You look at Livingston. If I was David Martindale, it looks like he's changed to a back 4. So Hearts went back 3, Livingston went a back 4. They made a few changes after poor results, and if I was Livingston, I'd be looking at that. It's like, this is an opportunity for us to push up and kind of squeeze the game, because Hearts don't have anyone that's going to really run in behind other than maybe Forrest.
Yeah, and that's probably true. And again, also because of his position, that's probably unlikely as well. You know, it's not very often you see the right wing back getting in behind everyone else. You know, so yeah, I think you make a good point. You know, they're not going to be, they're not going to be able to kind of break out like that. You know, I think there's going to have to be a wee bit more. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Sorry.
No, but you're looking at it's going to be a game where this looks like a lineup that's primed for the team to have 65% possession, and I think there'll be a big onus on. And with that, there's a big onus on one of the centre backs, especially in the back three, stepping out and coming in midfield. Out that back three, Stephen Kingsley is the one who's most likely to do it. However, he's very likely to be the centre of that back three. So there's a real onus on Kai Rogues to step in and play, start doing it a wee bit more. But also Kent, it's not outside of his game. If he's playing in the back three, his ideal situation is to be in the middle of that back three and act as that stopper, that that sweeper. Whereas as a ball-playing defender who's going to step into midfield, he's not really that kind.
No, I guess we've certainly not seen that from him. You know, he's not the kind of guy to take the ball, drive forward 10 yards, draw a midfielder, then shift it on. You know, he might have to do a little bit of that tonight, but again, I guess we'll see how he gets on. Again, we've not seen it, we don't know, but presumably there's a reason he's not been doing it. I guess we'll find out soon enough. But again, I think for the centre halves, the main objective will be again just playing short, simple passes. You know. Don't hump it along to the forward and see what happens, because Livingston's defenders are going to gobble it up all day, and then so I think it's just going to be short, quick passes to try and move Livingston around, to try and unsettle, try and break down that shape, because we know they're going to be incredibly structured, we know they're going to be very well coached, and so I try to find wee holes in that.
Or if one thing that infuriates me with centre backs is when it's clear that they have space, they can see the space in front of them, and they don't take it. I would like to see if those situations develop. Kai Rose or Frank Kent, even Stephen Kingsley, just going, right, I'm going to take this ball for a run, and that moves the opposition around because they don't expect a centre back to come into midfield. So it might draw someone across to try and close down, or it might take a player from one space to another and opens up space for a teammate. So yeah, it's important to be, when that happens, to move in quickly and then shift it quickly, and then you can work out overloads and potentially get at Livingston a lot better. Are you surprised Benny Beningham's starting it with Devlin and it's not Neuenhoff?
Probably a wee bit. I thought that Neuenhoff had a decent enough game at Ibrox, so he was one of the better players. So to be fair to Beningame, but as we touched on earlier, the fact that this is 3 games in the space of 8 days, that's a lot for any player to play, never mind one who's coming back from such a serious injury. So for that reason, I thought Beningame probably wouldn't start. I'd be amazed if he lasted the full 90. I think he'll come off around about the hour mark again. So it looks as if Naismith is trying to balance out the playing time of Neuenhoff, Devlin and Beningame. I was thinking, because obviously Devlin came off the bench at the weekend there. Neuenhoff's been obviously dropped for this one, so I think he's trying to manage it so that they all play roughly the same amount of minutes between Ibrox and tonight, and then that means that all 3 will be raring to go come Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bit surprised to see him again, because he's a player who's probably better at the defensive side of the game, not necessarily winning the ball back, but retaining possession, shooting the ball, beating the press. And I don't know how much Livingston are going to do that this evening. So again, a little bit surprised. I would have thought Neuenhoff was a better fit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I would expected or hoped to see either Neuenhoff, if not Neuenhoff, then Grant. Having watched the Rangers game now, wasn't impressed with Grant. I think he struggled, didn't get into the game nearly enough. When he did get on the ball, he gave it up cheaply. But this is a game where he's going to have a lot of time on the ball and the game in front of him. So yeah, I think the midfield dynamic will be interesting, especially with Livingston. I expect him to be quite narrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of play kind of Christmas tree formation, to use Championship manager talk, can afford to, because they don't have a lot of width. Because usually the width is supplied by the wing backs. We've got a back 4, and then the other players. So you've got Stephen Kelly, Scott Pittman, Jason Holt, Andrew Shinnie, Mo Sangari. Those are all quite central players. None of them are going to stretch Hearts or get down the wing. So I think it could be quite congested, and that's where you mentioned at the start of the video. Alex Cochrane and Alvin Forrest are going to be so important out wide to provide that width and stretch the game for us.
No, definitely. They are. They're going to again, like we're saying, it looks as if the Livingston team's going to be pretty narrow. and that which means that should be an area of the park where there is space to exploit. And the big question is, all right, if there's space there, you can exploit it. How do you go about that in the best manner? So whether that's drawing one of the fullbacks out to come meet you, and then that leaves up another gap further in field. Whether that's driving down the byline and try to get a cross in. Although, having said that, I don't think that'd be a very effective strategy this evening. Even though it's Boyce and Shankland up top, just you look at it.
But again, that's one if you can get down the byline and then low crosses. You've got two players in there that are very good at getting across defenders.
No, absolutely. I think they're both quite instinctive finishers. I think they're both quite good at taking those first time opportunistic shots just when they arise. It's a big evening for Liam Boyce actually, because obviously he's been, not had too many minutes of late. And I think his physicality makes him quite a good fit for this one, and the fact that both him and Shankland do like to drop deep, because I think that will be important. I don't think there's much point in the two of them being quite far up front and waiting for stuff to happen. I think I think it's the sort of game where for large spells, I'd imagine Hearts will be camped out on the edge of the Livy box, and it's about that point, try to move defenders around, try to drag them out of position. That's what those two are brilliant at.
I think a lot of Hearts fans are really happy to just go and judge it by social media to see Liam Boyce back in the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if I've got to hear it. So if it's Lowry behind Boyce and Shankland, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Shankland or Lowry and Boyce as the two kind of number 10s behind them, and just to find that space. So there's flexibility within the formation as well, which is kind of always the key with Hearts, which is great. To finish up, having seen the lineup now, you predicted 2-0 earlier on. Have you got any reason to change that?
No, I'm going to stick with it, and I'm a little bit even more confident of the nil because I've seen the Bruce Anderson's on the bench and not starting, and I think he's quite a good finisher, quite a good poacher. Which I think lessens Livy's goals for it, and I don't think they had much of one to begin with. So I'll stick with 2-0. I'll stick with 2-0.
I'm sticking with 3-0, and I'm sticking with a goal from a set piece, because I look at that back line. They've got a guy called Miles Welch Hazen. Don't know much about him, but he's a right back. I don't think he's played too much. And then James Penrice, and then you've got it's Sean Kelly in beside Michael Devlin. It's not a big Livingston side, not a big Livingston side that they're probably used to, certainly over the last few years. Joe Newbley's a big threat in attack, but it's a smaller one, so a smaller team, which is a change from recent years. So 3-0 and a goal from set piece. Hopefully everyone enjoys the game.